Hi everyone, my name is Lily and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a Madoka Magica fan art, and I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I had been on a break for 2 weeks and I did talk about that in a couple other videos, and I'm still getting back into the groove of drawing every day, so this one took me a long time, mostly because I was just trying to figure out how to position the bodies, how to make the bodies look and move, and it was a lot. It took a lot, so please enjoy this very long video, and in this video I have determined that I want to talk about a specific topic, and I struggled for a while coming up with something that I wanted to talk about. I think I recorded this at least 2 or 3 different times just so I could make sure that I'm talking about what I want to talk about, and I never got anything that I really wanted to talk about. If I could say that a few more times in the same sentence. But anyway, so today's topic is about story ideas, roughly. I wanted to talk about what story ideas I have had, why I struggle to stick with the same story idea for a long period of time, why why I used to write and why I stopped writing, actually writing, and a couple other things too. So if you were interested in that, then feel free to keep listening. If not, you can mute me. And if you don't want to watch this, then you don't have to. I feel like that's pretty obvious, but maybe not. Okay, so anyway, just to jump right in, the first thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that I struggle with sticking with one video topic, or not video topic, story idea, one story topic, okay? This is because I've always been really bad about finishing things, completing things. My whole life I've been bad at it. So devoting myself to just one specific idea is hard for me. I've nearly accomplished it in the past, but I get kind of bored with it, and I don't know why. And I don't know why I struggle so much to just push past that barrier, but I do. It's unhealthy because, one of the things that I want to do is make comics and tell interesting stories, and I can't do that if I can't make the stories interesting enough for myself to want to finish them. But anyway, yeah, I think one of the biggest reasons that I struggle with that is when I come up with a story idea, I want to make it good, and I want to draw it all out, normally make a comic out of it, because that's what you do when you're an artist, and have a story idea, you make a comic out of it. But the fact that Orbital failed not because of anything I did, I had a lot of issues in my family going on at the time. I've talked about a little bit. I've had, I was dealing with, the depression from all of that and everything, and I feel like Orbital could have been the most successful because I was really inspired and I was really dedicated, but because of all the family stuff, it just didn't come through. I had to cancel it, and that really sucked because I was very gung-ho about it. But now, currently, I think the biggest holdback for me is my art style. My art style is not very good for comics. I mean, that's just the truth. It takes me so long to draw literally anything, and I draw pretty fast, so it takes me so long, this piece here, it took me probably 12 hours to finish, and that's a lot. And if it takes me 12 hours to finish just a full body illustration, can you imagine how long it would take me to do one comic page? Probably a week, and that's not consistent and not reliable. So my biggest holdback right now is my art style, because I want it to look good, but I also don't think that it's in a place where it can be drawn over and over consistently. And it's something I've been thinking about, like saving one art style for illustrations and then maybe trying to develop another style for the sake of comic book creation or comic creation. My biggest issue with that, though, is every time I think about doing that, whatever the comic book one, quote unquote, does air quotes, whatever the comic book one is supposed to be, I end up just developing that as my main style. And that's not what I want to do, and that's not at all what I'm trying to achieve. Sorry, that's not what I'm trying to achieve. So, and I've been thinking about ways that I can simplify it or maybe make it less detailed to be put into a comic, but I have not really sat down and devoted a lot of time to it because I want to make sure that I know what comic I want to make first. Which is kind of the topic of this video, because I keep changing my fucking mind. Because I want what I make to be good and I want it to be interesting, and I feel like every idea I have is like, yeah, it's acceptable, but it's not like amazing. And that's what's really, those are the two things holding me back, is I feel like my ideas aren't good, and I feel like my art style is not where it needs to be. And I guess that's like 100% just self-doubt, and I'm trying really hard to get better at it, but I don't know, it's just hard. Like, drawing illustrations and drawing like just people is easy, but making those people interact and making it believable, that's where I struggle. Because I have troubles with that in my daily life, like just interaction with people. And a lot of my knowledge about interaction with people comes from like TV and stuff. So, I don't know. That's probably weird. But as a socially anxious being, I cannot help it. But anyway, so because of the holdbacks I'm having, because of the art style and the storytelling, I've thought about just writing it. Like pen to paper, well, or keys on a keyboard, finger to keys. So, you know what, it doesn't matter. I've thought about writing a story, authoring a story, and this is something I've done in the past, and I used to write a lot before I really drew. I used to write, and with moderate success. I mean, I am a published author. I have been in poetry books, I've been in short story magazines, but that was a long time ago, like when I was young, and probably only because I was young and I wrote as well as I did. I've always been the kind of kid who like did a lot of reading and was really studious and well-spoken and all that stuff. So probably the fact that I was so young is why, and wrote as well as I did is why I was in those things, but you know what, it's whatever. It's bragging rights. But I've thought about getting back into that, and I stopped when I started focusing more on art, and when school became more of a priority, I stopped writing as much, and that may be something I need to explore now, is trying to write again. I feel like I'll have more success with writing. I feel like if I can write something successfully, then maybe I'll have a script, quote unquote, to make a comic off of. I don't know, there are a couple of different reasons to why I've been thinking about writing, but I'm scared of it. I'm scared to get back into it because I'm scared that it's not going to be good. Because it's been literally years. Like, it's been over 10 years since I've written anything seriously. And I'm scared of that. And I'm scared that because I haven't really read many books lately, I'm scared that my writing style isn't going to be the best. It can be like, I don't know, there's just a lot of fear, I think. for me to commit to something. And I feel like that's what a lot of younger artists maybe can struggle with too, or a lot of artists who have never done this before or something like this before. I feel like fear is something that can really bog you down and stunt your growth, and I feel like that's where I'm at now. Which is unfortunate, because I think of an idea for a story, and I think, yeah, this is good, I think people will like this. And then I sit down and I start fleshing it out, you know, I'll make the characters and the setting, and I'll write bios and backstories and motivations and fears and, you know, details. And then I'll start getting to the point where I'm like, well, maybe this isn't good enough. Why would anybody read this? Like, this is getting monotonous. Like, if I think it's monotonous and I'm the creator, of course someone's gonna, who is a potential reader, is gonna be like, oh, this is really boring. And that's what I'm scared of. But because I guess I technically fall into that young artist group, technically, I've never had something be successful in that vein. Like, the success that I've had in art is creating illustrations. That's it. That's it. If you take Orbital into consideration, I suppose you could consider it successful for the few months that it was out. People liked it, and people still comment and like, wow, wish this, you know, would continue because I'm interested, even though I only have one chapter, right? People still comment and say, hey, this is good, and that kind of makes me inspired. That makes me want to work on it more and, like, you know, make it something good. Because if you look at that, that happened. Orbital, I had drawn the first chapter going into 2016, so like the last couple weeks of December of 2015, and then the first weeks of January 2016 is when I drew the first chapter. And my art is so much better now. I mean, logically, right, it's been 2 years, 3 years, 3, 4, no, how many years has it been? 2 years, okay, it's 2018, I lose my head, you guys. Well, I was thinking because it's the end of 2015, but I'm just going to consider it like the beginning of 2016, so it's been 2 years. And it simultaneously does and doesn't feel like it's been that long. Because it feels like I just made it yesterday, and then I look and it's been 2 years, and I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, it does feel like a lifetime ago, and my art looks nothing like it used to. Like, I switched a lot of things, like the way I draw eyes, the way I shade things. The bodies and clothes probably still look similar. Maybe the anatomy's better, but like, it's seriously, I feel like it could have been someone totally different. Like the artist could have been someone totally not me. But I don't know. I also got super distracted there because my friend texted me. So I was like, what? Anyway, yes. Okay, so back on track. Because Orbital was semi-successful, I feel like it could have been successful if I could have continued working on it. It makes me hope that I can, you know, make something that's worthwhile. Again, you know, my biggest reservation is I'm just scared. I am not confident, you know, because like I look now at my illustrations and I think, oh wow, that doesn't look very good. I spent 12 hours on this and it looks like crap. And I don't know what other people see when they look at it. But I guess that's just the artist qualm. But because of that, I've considered, you know, getting back into writing again, and I had another idea for a universe that I might want to start working on. That's separate. Well, like, it's technically set in the same infrared universe, but just a different story. But I thought about writing that instead of trying to draw that. Because I kind of have this idea that if I just work on something, if I just devote myself to something and not worry about how it looks or how it sounds or if it's well done, if it's, you know, just try to commit to something, I think that will help me in the long run. And see it through. That's my biggest issue, is seeing it through. Because again, I stagnate. I'm like, oh man, this is getting boring to me. Of course it's going to be boring to someone else. But I did want to also talk about some of the story ideas that I have had that I've kind of trashed. Well, maybe not trashed. Some of the story ideas I've had that I'm not planning on working on, and maybe some that I am. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that open to interpretation. So one idea that I had was about, it was orbital, right? It was about, this alien comes to Earth and, well, she crash lands, and she's an ambassador for her species, and she meets the scientist, and they have to technically save the world because her planet produces resources that Earth needs, and Earth produces resources that her planet needs, which was the reason she went there to begin with. So, in that story, there are the two main characters, and then there's also a third main character that's introduced later. And that's the basic premise of it, and that was the premise of Orbital. It was gonna be under the guise of a kind of slice of life comic, but it wasn't gonna be one. It was gonna be a save the world story. And then over time, you know, I decided to not go with the Orbital story, so I wanted to still use the characters because I'd had them all fleshed out. I had their personalities. Did you hear how bad my voice got just then? Yeah, I'm still dealing with allergies, by the way. But I had all their personalities, I had everything. I mean, they were full characters. So I wanted to reuse them, so I decided to expand upon the story of Orbital and turn it into Infrared. And I'm gonna keep that a secret because I still plan on making that. And I talked a little bit about it, but with Infrared, it is going to be something, I plan on it being my magnum opus, which, if you don't know what that is, that's basically like the theory that every artist or every creator has like one big thing that they make, okay? Like J.K. Rowling was Harry Potter, like that was her one big thing. Or George R.R. Martin was Game of Thrones, that was his one big thing. Or, you know, like just as an example, like chances are those things are never going to be as popular as their magnum opus, as their one big story, as their one big, you know, thing. And I feel like Infrared will be that for me. And I've talked about this before, but the reason I don't want to, you know, do it yet is because I want it to be good, and I don't think that I'm where I need to be for it. So I put it on the back burner, and I thought, well, what if I do a different webcomic, like a different story that I can kind of have fun with, a little bit more lighthearted, you know, the story's a little bit more open and not like as structured. So I thought, yes, I've made these succubus and incubus characters, and I've always wanted to do something with them. I've never known what to do with them. They're just sitting there collecting dust. I might as well bust them out, clean them up, and use them for it. Makes logical sense, right? So I've decided on this succubus-themed webcomic, and the biggest issue with that one is the not safe for work aspect of it. Not everyone wants to read a comic that has sex in it, and that's totally fine, and it also won't appeal to younger people because it's got sex in it, so anyone under 18 can't even read it. That's where I'm struggling. because the way I want to write it is I want it to be real and I want it to be kind of gritty. And in order to do that, I have to incorporate these certain things, and it's about sex demons, so of course there would be sex in it. I still plan on doing this comic, by the way. This is still something I want to do, but I don't care to spoil the plot for you because of the twists that happen. I don't need to reveal, but I can reveal like the main plotline for you. So basically, there's this girl, she's a witch, and she goes into the library and she checks out a book on summoning. She wants to summon something to help her defeat her enemies. Okay, and I won't mention it. Bullies, it's bullies, basically. She's, you know, one of the weird kids. So she goes into the library, she picks out this book, this big old book. Doesn't know what it says, understands the word summon. And she's like, ah yes, well this is good, we're gonna do this. Goes home, does the ritual, and ends up summoning a succubus instead of a demon, like an actual, like, fuck you up with fire demon. No, she summons a succubus, and not only does she summon one succubus, she summons the succubus and her two sisters. And thus will begin the comic, and that will be about kind of in the same style of like Everyday Life with Monster Girls, or like Monster Musume, which is like slice of life with weird shit. It's gonna be kind of like that. So like slice of life, but with succubi. And then of course later the character Desmond is introduced, and he's an incubus. And the big thing about it is they have opened up this portal that they didn't close, and it's letting shit into the real world that needs to not be in like the real world, quote unquote the real world. And they have to kind of deal with that. Like that's the plot of it. Okay, so that is the webcomic that I want to work on now. I feel like it's more of a... I can have fun with it. It doesn't have to be like perfect. I can just literally just sit down and draw strips, and it can be whatever I want. Like, and I wanted to do that so that way I could commit to something that doesn't scare me, because there doesn't have to be something amazing about it. It just has to be kind of there. And even if I just draw it for myself and never show anybody, you know, the fact that I'm committing to it is important. Then the idea I had for a story idea, like just that I want to write, is set in the same universe as Infrared. And this is a story that is about a spaceship, one specific spaceship. And this spaceship gets lost. Well, not lost, but this spaceship gets stranded. Its engine turns off and nobody knows why. So they have to survive on these backup generators until they figure out what's what. And I'm trying to think, like, how can I put it without spoiling the things? Anyway, stuff happens, and it's really about how the crew reacts about it, like, under that extreme pressure, like, we could die. And there are going to be different alien races and humans, and it's a rather large research vessel. And their goal, their primary missive, is to go out and find other Earth-like planets in the galaxy, and either make contact with the life there or see if life can be there, right? That's their primary missive. So that's the story I'm thinking about actually writing, like a book, kind of. I have looked into maybe publishing it on a chapter by chapter basis, like maybe starting a blog and just every month do a chapter, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, so those are the story ideas that I've had. If you have any story ideas that you think are pretty worthwhile, feel free to tell me about them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. I've kind of decided that I am gonna go with the succubus kiss for the comic, which is, you know, obvious. I told you about the succubi. And maybe I can write the space story like in the meantime, like on the back burner, so I have something I can still do that's in a totally different vein, but still kind of like world building and creative and story. So yeah, I'm kind of out of things to talk about now. That's all I had written down to talk about. I used to want to do a collaboration, like meet with a fellow artist and come up with a story and work with them on a comic or something. But unfortunately, I don't really see a lot of people who would like to do that, and most of the people I talk to aren't artists anymore, or like aren't artists at all. So there is a bit of struggle with that. I really want whatever I make to be successful and interesting, but also I don't know, I feel like I could bring another artist on and it would be better, but better than if I did it myself. But unfortunately, like I said, I don't really know any artists that work on shit like that, so I'm trying to draw inspiration from people that I like, from artists and comic writers, authors that I know for sure that I like, but I don't, my issue with it is I want to write certain sci-fi things, and not a lot of people do the sci-fi things that I want to write, so drawing inspiration from that is hard because they don't really exist that I've seen. And I'm sure they do. I'm sure people want to write the things that I am wanting to write, but I've just not found them. So, but anyway, that's I guess enough about that. I'm gonna stop talking about that for now. That's really all I needed to say about it anyway. If you struggle with maintaining a story or whatever, then leave me a comment and we can talk about it, because I struggle so hard. And like 90% of it's because I'm just afraid and I am not confident. And I don't know, making this video and talking about it like openly has kind of made me want to really devote time to making my art style what I think it needs to be for a comic. But that's another thing, is I don't know like what inspiration I want to take from. Do I want to make it like Eastern looking, Western looking, a weird mismatch of both? Like, I just don't know. But anyway, really quick, I just wanted to finish up talking about the drawing. I think that the poses still look stiff even though I played with them for a long time. I'm really happy with how the shading came out. I'm really happy with how the clothes look. I did miss a little bit on the clothes, but I'm not gonna say what. Maybe no one will notice. Again, like with everything I draw ever, I wish I would have worked more on the background, but you know, you're 12 hours in, and you're like, man, I'm just ready for it to be done, and so you make the background like I make them. This will be available as a print on my shop in the coming days. This... I don't know, but it'll definitely be a print. Okay, so I'll put it up there and you'll be able to see it, you know, when it goes up. And as always, patrons do get a 20% discount on everything. If you are a patron, you can use the code that is provided on Patreon. You can find it. And I'm way out of things to talk about, you guys. Oh my gosh, I've never made a video this long, so I'm kind of having a little bit of a struggle. My favorite part about drawing this whole thing was drawing the frills on Madoka's like bodice piece. It was good. And the frills at the bottom of the skirt were fun too. I just love frills. I just like drawing girly things. I've thought about doing Madoka Magica stickers, but I don't know if that would be like a successful thing or not. But anyway, yes, I guess I'm gonna wrap it up here, you guys. There's not that much video left, and you can just listen to the music until the end. So thank you guys so much for this week I'm doing 2 videos because I missed last week. This was supposed to be last week's video. I didn't like the voiceover, so I wanted to wait and re-record it, so I did. This is going up today on Tuesday, and then Thursday there's going to be another video of me drawing Lars from Steven Universe. So yeah, definitely stick around if you want to see that. Sorry it took so long to get this video out. I wanted to make it good because it was long, so. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys, you know, always supporting me and leaving nice comments, and it's just wonderful. I love you, all of you. Even the people who dislike this video, I still like you. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, guys, really quick, I need to just give a shout out. I forgot my shout out. A shout out to Radiant, James, my dad, and Luciferes. I'll link their Twitters below. Go check them out. Okay, that's it. Bye, guys.